Newmont is among the top 5 mining companies and is the largest gold producer. Earnings in the last quarter came higher than expected, and these all pushed their market value beyond $86 billion. There are many, many reasons to like them, but I'll tell you my top 5. Let's get started. And look at the chart. Like, it sits over 100%. It's about 112% now, year to date. All right. So right from the get-go, we are talking about a group that has substantial assets. Like, their portfolio is unrivaled, as they say, but it's actually true. And they have about more than half the world's top tier 1 gold assets, gold mines. And if we look at this is from their presentation, one of their presentations, you can see how these, so in blue, we see the managed operations, so the operations that they are operating themselves, and there's 4, 5, 6 of them. And then in the top tier operations, and then we see 4 non-managed that are joint ventures, so JVs that they are participating, but they're not operating. And there's an extra bonus, which is an equity ownership. So they have ownership in Fruta del Norte in Ecuador. So reason number 2, location. A wonderful house in a shitty location is going to be a nightmare. But that doesn't happen at Newmont. We can see that they have a very clear preference if we look at where they are located, the mines. So these are mines and projects in execution as well. There's a couple of those. They have a clear preference for the Americas and Australia, and they do have substantial experience working in those regions. And what I can add here is that they are effective scouts. They look at many projects every year, and I know because they've been clients in the past. So I've seen from very close how decisive and how thorough they can be when they are looking for assets. So that's number 2. Here's number 3. They have a healthy stock of minerals and a very healthy pipeline. Because replacing mine reserves is crucial to keep growing. Like, if you're starting to eat up into your reserves and you don't replace them, you're gonna start getting smaller. So these guys, what they've done, we can see here 134 million ounces in reserves, gold, and 170 million ounces in resources between all categories. And then if we go to copper, they have 14 million tons in reserves and 25 million tons in resources. So these are substantial stock to have. In addition, we can see in the next slide, we can see a little bit about their pipeline. So we can look at, if we go from bottom to top, they have the different stages in terms of confidence. So the knowledge, the understanding of the economic parameters of specific assets. So from the conceptual scoping, going through pre-feasibility towards definitive feasibility. Then they have things that are a little bit further ahead and things that are currently in execution. So they have a very full pipeline and a number of expansions. So they're doing, and I think this is one thing that is interesting. They are obviously doing brownfield, so exploration around existing mines, but they're also doing some greenfield exploration, and that's always important. Although I think they could do more. Just my opinion. Okay. And just to have a look at, again, they do focus on these two regions, so the Americas and Australia. So they obviously have a very strong presence in those regions with their development pipeline as well. So not only they plan to remain active in these same regions, which is basically what I'm trying to say. All right. Now number 4. So reason number 4, they have been on a substantial program to restructure and revalue their portfolio, and that means they have stuffed pockets. They've done over 5 billion in sales and over 3 billion in net cash proceeds from the divestitures that they've done. So they sold several mines, including Telfer in Australia, Eleanor, Porcupine, and Musselwhite in Canada. So, they sold another one in Ghana. So they've done a very thorough work in terms of divesting assets that they didn't think were in line with where they were going. So I think that's the main thing here. And they have completed that program. So they've finished that sort of process, and now they can fully focus with those proceeds and with those strong sales that we have to be honest that they're enjoying a very healthy time for gold. So that's also it's a tailwind, of course. So that's always good to have. And the final reason is not fully economical or fully growth oriented, but I think it's important. And they had, I see it as a sort of evidence of their technical competence and as well how much they value the people that work with them. So they had an incident at the Red Chris mine in BC in Canada with what could have been very serious outcomes, but they were able to swiftly rescue the trapped miners. And I think that showcases their technical responsiveness and being prepared for, if you're a miner, like these things can happen. Like, of course, you work towards not seeing this, but if it does happen, it's you wanna find solutions and find the people trapped very quickly, and not everyone has been able to do that in recent times. So I think that's also a good thing. Here's my take on where these guys are going. I think they are kind of setting up to aim for the crown. So yeah, of course, you have BHP, you have Rio, and they are the leaders, but they have been moving sideways, and these guys have been rising very rapidly. So I think they are about to give them a run for the money. If we look at when I started this node in as a thread, and you can see the date there, when I looked into this for that, they were at about 70%, 70% year to date. Then now they are over 110%, I think 112%. So, and I don't think this is done, especially not because of how much gold they produce and how gold keeps rising. Today was yesterday was spot was 3,700 just now. And yeah, so I don't think this is done, and I have to admit we didn't have to open our position because they have also bought great projects. So you can't always be selling. You at some point you have to be developing or buying, and they bought a project, a mine that was called Brucejack. It's called Brucejack. It's still around, and yeah, so they bought it. That's how we ended up having a position. And here's a pro tip: when you invest in serious explorers or developers, eventually, and I know it can take some time, but eventually you will end up with great producers in your portfolio, often, very often, a fraction of the cost. And where do you stand on this one? I would love to know. Leave me a comment down below. And that's it for today. Bye. Until next time.